Imagine this, right? You've just barely survived this awful escape. You land somewhere you hope is, well, safe, only for the nightmare villain you ran from to track you down almost immediately.
Yeah, talk about bad luck.
And then, okay, you're captive on his ship, and this charming rogue who unexpectedly tries to help you.
Yeah.
He's not just some privateer. Nope. Turns out he's the actual prince of the country you just ditched.
And then he crash lands you right back there.
Exactly. Right back onto his crumbling soil. What happens when escape isn't, the end? When it's just the start of facing even bigger dangers, much more complicated truths.
It's a rough start to a new chapter, that's for sure.
So today we're really getting into the heart of this incredible book. We want to pull out some crucial insights about survival, definitely, but also about power, how seductive it is, leadership challenges, and where loyalty really fits when the world is just falling apart. Our mission here is to unpack the key moments, the character turns, the underlying ideas, to really try and understand what's going on.
And that journey you just laid out, it's such a perfect snapshot of what this book digs into. It doesn't just throw obstacles, it throws characters into these impossible situations that strip everything away.
Yeah.
And force them to make these choices that reveal the real cost of power and just how fragile alliances can be.
This kind of analysis, really getting into the layers of a story like this, is something we explore over on Mindful Moments.
Ah, right, our YouTube channel.
Exactly. We use AI book analysis there to kind of spark deeper thinking, more critical reflection on the stories that, shape how we see things.
It's a great way to go deeper.
So let's jump into that arrival in Novaya Zem. The book paints this picture of feeling stranded, ragged and grubby, holding on to nothing but a single hairpin.
Yeah.
And even when they move inland to Kofton, there's still this feeling, it's not safety, is it? It's more like, vulnerable hiding.
Definitely not safe. The physical distance means nothing, really. That description, it captures the displacement, the poverty, but also the danger they're still carrying. That feeling of being hunted, it just hangs over everything in those early pages.
And that threat becomes, terrifyingly real. The Darkling just shows up. In Kofton.
It's so sudden.
In the boarding house.
Yeah.
It's shocking how fast he finds them.
It is, and the way it's described, there's this sort of chilling quietness to it. He's there, looking almost relaxed, shrouded in shadow, but completely in control. And then you see his power. It's not just darkness anymore. It's something grotesque. That description, writhing cloud that clicked in word like a fog of hungry insects.
Ugh, yeah. Horrifying.
It really is. It's not just absence of light. It's something active, alive, predatory, Merzo.
That clicking and whirring. It really gets under your skin. It feels wrong, unnatural. And you feel that rage described in the book, right? That frustration, being cornered again just when maybe there was a tiny bit of hope.
It shows how far he's gone into that forbidden magic, the kind that twists the natural order. And notice, his first question isn't even about Alina.
No, it's, where's Mal?
Exactly. He knows their connection is key. He knows who to target strategically.
So they're captured, taken onto his ship, this big clunky whaler. The book really paints a picture of the grim atmosphere, the smell, and that contrast, right? His Grisha just standing around idly at the railings while the regular sailors are doing all the hard work.
It's such a visual of his hierarchy, isn't it? And his detachment. His Grisha are tools, separate. The whole ship just feels like captivity, emphasizing the reality of being back in his control.
And it's on this ship.
Yeah.
The sea whip encounter happens. This majestic creature, but it's injured. And the decision is made.
Yes.
End its life. Take its power.
A huge moment. Absolutely pivotal.
Yeah.
And the description of absorbing the power is so complex. It thrilled me. It buoyed me. It feels good. Intoxicating even.
Right.
But it immediately crashes against the fundamental rule. All the books say the same thing. You only get one amplifier.
Yeah.
Period.
And she's just claimed number 2.
Exactly. This isn't just bending a rule. It's potentially breaking the foundation of their magic. That internal question, did I dare claim a second amplifier? That opens up everything.
Yeah.
The temptation of more power, the cost of defying nature, it sets up this huge internal and external conflict.
And right when the Darkling is, threatening Mal to get her to cooperate, this other character, Sturmhond, pipes up, the privateer.
Yeah, seems like a minor character at first.
Described as a tall boy around my age, reddy hair, broken nose. His intervention is just Well, you don't expect it.
Not at all. And his line, "I won't have a girl tortured on my ship," it said with this, like casual defiance.
Right.
It challenges the Darkling directly on what's supposedly the Darkling's ship. It hints Sturmhond has his own code. And the Darkling's response, "You work for me, Sturmhond," just highlights that complicated dynamic.
That little clash with Sturmhond's crew watching.
Yeah.
It creates instant questions. And then, soon after, they're on his ship, the Volkvolny. Totally different vibe.
Oh, completely. Sleek, fast. A symbol of maybe a different kind of power, efficiency. And the crew is interesting, too. Rogue, Grisha, and sailors working together.
Yeah, that's a contrast.
It feels like a glimpse of how Ravka could be,
Yeah.
outside the rigid structures of the First and Second Armies.
So as they're sailing back towards Ravka, they start hearing these disturbing rumors. The fold is expanding, refugees fleeing, the army's a mess.
Utter chaos back home. First Army near revolt, Second Army in tatters.
And the Apparat's cult is growing.
Yeah, that's a new threat emerging. Not physical power, but this, insidious spiritual and political manipulation preying on people's fear.
Hearing all that, you feel that weight of responsibility described in the book, right? I'd left my country to the mercy of the Shadowfold.
Absolutely. It reinforces the stakes and her feeling of culpability.
Okay, so here's where things take a sharp turn, literally. They're flying in the Hummingbird, this amazing little craft, expecting a water landing.
And suddenly, they crash. Over land.
Can you just build that moment?
Yeah.
The tension.
Well, the book describes the sudden realization they're over land, not water. Then the impact, and in that immediate confusion, soldiers appear. You don't know who they are, friends, enemies.
And then Sturmhond, the charming rogue captain, takes off his coat.
Revealing a First Army officer's uniform, the soldiers kneel.
The shock. Mal's reaction, "Oh, saints, you've got to be kidding me. It's perfect."
It really is, because it's not just Sturmhond, it's Prince Nikolai Lantsov, the younger son, the supposedly irresponsible one.
And he immediately explains himself. The king's weak. His brother Vasily cares more about horses. The country's falling apart.
He sees himself as the best man for the job, a pragmatist stepping up.
And he sees Alina, her power, her status, as the key to Ravka's survival. He didn't just rescue her, he plans to use her return politically.
Which naturally causes friction right away, especially with Mal, who just doesn't trust Nikolai's smooth talk and sees him as manipulative.
So, the return to Asalta. It's not exactly triumphant. Kribrisk is boarded up, empty. A ghost town, reflecting the state of the country.
Yeah, desolate.
But then around the capital, there are these huge crowds.
Yeah.
Pilgrims, calling her Sancta Alina.
That contrast is jarring, isn't it? The physical devastation versus this fervent, almost hysterical belief fueled by the apparat. Being called saint is described as deeply uncomfortable. It's this heavy, unwanted identity.
Loaded with expectations she feels she can't possibly meet. Shows the power of myth-making, I guess.
Definitely. And the tension doesn't stop there. Inside the little palace, with the remaining Grisha, it's immediately hostile.
Right, conflict and resentment.
The old order is broken, and she's disrupting what's left. They see her as an outsider, wasn't even raised here, barely a Grisha for a year. It's prejudice, fear of change.
And all that pressure, that resentment, it leads to that moment, doesn't it? In the meeting, her rage just boils over and she cracks the dome. A resounding crack shook the room.
Whoa, yeah. A terrifying display of power. It shows her internal turmoil and the raw, maybe untamed nature of her amplified abilities.
And then her attempt to integrate the orders, saying, there'll be 2 Grisha from each order, trying to break tradition.
Bold move, but met with instant resistance, right? You can't just overturn hundreds of years of tradition. It just highlights how hard it is to fix a broken system, even when facing annihilation.
Okay, let's dig into some of the deeper mysteries now, and the internal struggles. The apparat. He is a slippery one. What's his game?
That encounter in the hedge maze is so creepy. He's actively building this sun saint cult, twisting the story, claiming the monarchy held her prisoner. His eyes are wild. Is he mad? Is he calculating? Probably both.
He seems focused on controlling her image, wielding her power that way.
Exactly. And crucially, he brings up Morozova's journals.
Yes, that detail.
That confirms he's after deeper, forbidden knowledge about the amplifiers, and the way he just vanishes. It makes him seem almost supernatural and definitely hard to pin down.
Speaking of Morozova.
Yeah.
The hunt for the 3rd amplifier, the Firebird, runs through everything. They're looking at the Historia Sanctia, that old book, the picture of Saint Ilya.
Right. The illustration seems to show Ilya with amplifier-like things, reinforcing 3 amplifiers, 3 creatures, but it's all fragmented. The standard Grisha rule is one amplifier, but she has two.
So Morozova must have broken the rules.
Seems like it. His creations were maybe unnatural, defying tradition, which is tempting for Alina, needing power, but also deeply frightening.
And Bagre gives a very stark warning about all this.
Oh, yeah. Finding her left in the dark is awful. Seeing what the Darkling did, her reaction to the Sea Whip scales is intense, and her warning is blunt. You cannot violate the rules of this world without a price.
She sees the danger.
Clearly. She warns the power will hunger for more, tells Alina. Forget Morozova and his madness, and the most chilling part. Seek the third, use it, and you will lose yourself completely, piece by piece.
Wow. A prophecy of self-destruction tied directly to the power she feels she needs.
Exactly. The ultimate price.
Yet despite all that, they are building practical defenses. Nikolai's leading that.
His pragmatism again. David's mirrored dishes, designed to weaponize sunlight against the Nishivoya. That's hope. Ingenuity.
The book says it worked. It actually worked. You feel the relief there.
It's a tangible plan against those shadow monsters. Something concrete.
But even with plans and growing power, Alina feels more and more alone.
Yeah, the little palace had become a very lonely place, surrounded by people but isolated by the burden, the expectations, and the strain on her connection with Mal.
Mal. That relationship is really suffering, isn't it? The distance, the resentment.
It's so palpable, and it explodes in that argument near the lake. When they touch that sharp jolt she feels, it's like a physical sign of how the amplifiers, or maybe just her changing, are messing with that bond.
Which connects to that awful nightmare, doesn't it? Mal's eyes turning gray, becoming the Darkling, hearing his voice.
Cool and smooth as glass. Yeah, that dream feels huge. It's her deepest fear made real, that the power's twisting her, making her like the Darkling, poisoning her connection to Mal. The psychological weight is immense.
And then, the attack finally comes. During Nikolai's birthday dinner, of all times, the absurdity-suckling pig jelly fawn while this tension hangs in the air.
And Basile's arrogance. Denying the threat even exists, if they even exist. It just shows how out of touch and vulnerable the court is, celebrating while doom gathers outside.
The attack itself is just sudden, brutal. Windows exploding, Nishivoya pouring in. Those descriptions, wings of molten shadow, the whirring buzz of insects.
Pure chaos. The book captures the speed, the overwhelming force. It's instant survival mode, scrambling to the roof for the dishes, trying to rally the Grisha. Just pandemonium.
And the losses are immediate. Fedor, lifted from his feet and tossed from the roof. So sudden, so tragic. And the dishes, their big hope that it could use them properly.
If only we'd had both dishes. If only we'd had a little more time. It's heartbreaking. Shows that even the best plans can fail against that kind of onslaught.
The escape through the tunnels. It's desperate. You feel the physical toll, especially on Alina, with her wound burning.
But even in that desperation, you see real loyalty shining through. Tolya and Tamar.
Right. They are rock solid. We pledged our lives to you, all of us. They literally carry her. Secure the escape. Their loyalty feels different, not about power, but real connection.
It's such an important counterpoint to all the politics and fear. A reminder that human bonds can still hold, even when everything else is breaking.
And then, after the chaos, Mal reappears. The book says he's looking rough, smells like he's been at the bottom of a bottle.
Yeah, the tension there is immediate. His apology just falls flat, especially with Tolya furious, saying, I had to tear you apart.
And then that final painful conversation between Alina and Mal. She says it plainly. I can't ever just be Alina again. That girl is gone. She knows the power has changed her irreversibly.
And she calls him out on his fear. I think you're already a little afraid of me. His silence. His leaving. It's just devastating. That core relationship is broken. She's truly alone now on this path.
So looking back at this whole chunk of the book, the escapes, the reveals, the battles, the attack, what does it all really teach us? What about leadership, for instance? We see so many types.
Well, you've got Nikolai's pragmatism, which is effective, but maybe ruthless. Then there's Vasily's denial and the king's weakness, total failures. And Alina, she's thrust into leadership by expectation, by myth.
Yeah.
It shows leadership isn't just about being capable. It's about perception. It's about making these incredibly tough, maybe morally gray choices.
And the theme of power just runs through everything, doesn't it? How it corrupts, changes you. Bagra's warning about its hunger feels very real.
That idea of calls to
Right.
it seems to apply to power itself. As Alina's power grows, it seems to draw out certain things in her, maybe strength, maybe something darker, pulling her closer to what she's fighting. It's complex.
It really makes you think about good and evil. Are these characters inherently one or the other, or are they shaped by desperation, by the choices they have to make?
I think the book pushes back against simple answers. The Darkling's corrupted power, the Apparat's manipulative faith, Nikolai's gray areas, Alina's struggle. It challenges neat labels.
Yeah.
And that's why moments of true loyalty, like from Tolya and Tamar, stand out so much. They shine against this backdrop of fear, politics, and corruption. It makes you ask, what really matters when things fall apart? Who do you choose to be?
Absolutely. And, unpacking these complex ideas in compelling books is exactly what we aim for on our YouTube channel, Mindful Moments.
Uh-huh.
You can find AI-assisted analysis over there, really designed to spark your own thoughts and help you think more deeply about the stories you engage with. And, of course, you can find our other discussions wherever you get your podcasts.
Analyzing these layers, it helps us understand not just the story, but these broader dynamics, power, leadership, survival, and maybe the importance of critical thinking, right? Especially when faced with strong beliefs like the Apparat's call, or the crowd's expectations, or even the pull of power itself.
This book definitely leaves you thinking. Alina remembers that quote about the illustration. You know the problem with heroes and saints? They always end up dead.
Ooh, yeah. What does that mean for her? Being called both hero and saint. Is the cost of becoming that figure losing yourself completely? Just like Bagra warned. It's a really provocative question about power and identity.
If this discussion sparked your curiosity, definitely hit subscribe so you don't miss our future explorations.
Yeah, please do.
Share this with someone you think would enjoy digging into complex stories like this one. And you can grab the book yourself. There's a link in the description and dive into the full story.
And most importantly, keep thinking critically about the stories you read, the things you hear in books, and just, out in the world.